Hey, Green Machine friends and fans of fun, I've got to get the books for this week. Where are the books for this week? What did I do with them? Okay. And I'm removing my mask so that the deaf community can read my lips because my sign is not quite fast enough. While we urge people to wear the mask and to do that in public and whatnot, should this be plugged up? Should I have this plugged up right here?
Yes.
Is it plugged up? How do I plug this up and make sure it's still using it?
Sorry, guys. Chemicals difficulty.
Is it working now? Is it good now? Can you guys hear me? YouTube, can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. I will not be wearing the mask so that the deaf community can read my lips. Again, because my sign is not quite fast enough right now to interpret. Joshi says that, or Sean says that our audio is good, so we're going to go from here. I need to get all these books out of this box. Can you, music? I'm failing here. I'm failing intensely. Okay, we're good. Okay. Let's just start at the beginning, and the obvious big question here is, Batman Joker War issue number 98, is it good? It's amazing. We saw last time that Batman, having been dosed with the new Joker / punchline toxin, has affected his mind. He's hearing Alfred, even though Alfred is dead, and he's experiencing things that aren't quite there. So Harley took him to a hidden location that Poison Ivy had, where it basically was a bunch of flowers that could detox him like naturally, and then she gave him a tea too that is very, I guess, psychedelic. So this issue picks up, he's having whole visions of, oh, good times. Of course, someone's got a call while we're doing a live video. He's having visions of Alfred and everything else. Meanwhile, in this particular issue, we're building towards a fight between Punchline and Harley, and we've kind of known that the ex-girlfriend was going to meet the current, and there was going to be a fight. And was it going to be good? It was awesome. This issue was awesome for a lot of reasons. One, we have a heart-to-heart between Alfred and Batman in this that is very touching and beautiful. Two, we have Batman realizing, who the man he is and the man he has to be to make this situation correct, which was amazing. On top of that, we do actually finally get the Harley Punchline fight that we've wanted, and it's pretty damn good. So again, the writing is great. Tinian the Fourth has really hit his stride, and the art is amazing. The art is just so good. Jimenez and Mori just going above and beyond. So again, Batman issue 98 is almost a do not miss type thing. You are at the store, the mall is still curbside pickup mode? No, the mall is not in curbside pickup mode. We are open now. Open this week. So yeah. Next is Amazing Science Fiction, DC Black Label. This is Tom King, Mitch Gerards, and Evan Shaner. And of course, we're talking about the awesome Doctor Strange story, Strange Adventures. Is it science fiction? If you aren't caught up on this, basically Adam Strange is being investigated for potential war crimes against the Picket Empire. Meanwhile, Mr. Terrific's been assigned to it and has hit a few roadblocks. And Adam's wife is very sort of center stage in all of this, which makes me question maybe if she hasn't done something nefarious, because it sort of seems like it might be pushing that way. I'm not entirely sure. This issue in particular, we come to the realization that the Earth is about to be attacked from the Picket Empire, which is a pretty awful. That's pretty horrible if that's true. If the Picket Empire is actually showing up to Earth, they destroyed Ron, and Ron was maybe 2,000 years ahead of Earth in technology, 3,000 years ahead of Earth in technology. So, I will need to swing by one day afterward. Yes, please do. So if that's true, that's a real problem. It might not be true. I mean, for all we know, Adam Strange's wife might have instrumented this, gotten the Picket Empire to show up. Somebody else could, but I feel like she's the puppet master. And maybe that's what I'm supposed to feel. It's Tom King after all, and Tom King rarely does what is expected. So we'll have to wait and see. This story's been so good. The art, though, I mean, like the story is great. It's great, but it's weird to say that there are times where Mitch Gerard's art makes me feel like he's dwarfing Tom King's story because the art is just so good, so good. And I had the same issues with the Mr. Miracle run. It's like the story's great. My God, this art is like it's just like candy for my eyes. It's so good. Again, issue number 5 of 12. I thought it was only going to 6. Strange Adventures is going to 12.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Okay. Does that mean we're going to get Adam Strange more back in the DC universe more? I mean, it's Black Label, so it's not mainline, but I'd like to see him return in some form.
It's popular. So,
yeah, we saw him in that Batman Superman crossover where Tom King was writing Superman. I can't remember.
Having that aside moment with Superman.
This is the variant for this particular issue of Strange Adventures. I honestly like the variant more than I like the main line. But, next is a book I'm very, very happy with. As a Hellblazer fan, I have loved all of the, I guess, Black Label, Sandman, Hellblazer stuff. It's been great. It's been really, really, really good. And I'm not, like, it's still Tom Taylor. It's written by Tom Taylor. Nothing to complain about here, but here is a new Hellblazer series called Hellblazer Rise and Fall. And this is awesome. It opens with the usual John Constantine, like, storyline, which is, well, upon birth, he killed his mother, and, he's responsible for deaths that, he's being blamed for deaths, and there's more than one, and he's got to handle that sort of thing. And it sort of puts him on the path between heaven and hell. And that's what you're going to get in this. The feeling of this story without actually knowing this story in particular. But I will say that Tom Taylor writing this really knocks it out of the park. It's a great story. It has all the proper feelings of a John Constantine story. There's Chaz is involved. It's the usual hanging out in a bar, a little too drunk, but maybe not drunk enough type feels to it. You've got his one-liners. Everything you want is there, but it feels like it's fresh. Like it's just sort of, it's Tom Taylor's version of this story. So it's going to put him on a collision course between heaven and hell. It's bound to happen. And that's what you're going to get here. It's good. It centers around a man being found with angel wings stabbed through the heart on top of a building. Probably not an angel, but is found with angel wings. So there's problems here. And John Constantine's got to get to the bottom of it. Can I put that comic in my folder too, the Hellblazer? Sure. Dodorth, remind me, who are you again, though? I forget.
Message us.
Message us. I don't message the Twitch account. Message the Facebook Green Machine account. It's Emily. So yeah. Sorry. I can never remember names to fictional names to names. Sorry. But this is great. It's really, really good. You're not going to be disappointed. The art is outstanding. I do not think the art is as good as the current Hellblazer Tom Taylor run that is also on the shelf, but it's good. It's just not as good as that. The art snob in me feels like I have to warn you. Next is Bendis, Walker, Godlewski, and Oeming and Eltaib. 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 Man, these names get weirder and weirder as time's going. Hi, guys. I'm not wearing a mask so that my deaf community can read my lips while I'm doing a live stream, so just letting you know. Anyways, so this is Bendis, Walker, Godlewski, Oeming, and yeah, these names just get weirder and weirder for me to pronounce. I'm sorry. This, of course, is Young Justice, and this one centers around, Drake. So Tim Drake in the new Drake costume that everyone hates. And spoiler, I will spoil a little bit of this for you. If you don't like the Drake costume and you do like Red Robin, this might be the issue for you to pick up. Because, again, I agree. The doo-doo brown is not Tim Drake's color. His color is red. We need to go back to that. Pick up this issue. You'll find out more about this. This actually centers around, spoiler, having to deal with her dad, the Clue Master, who has faked his death and come back to build an empire, and she's got to dismantle it. We have more customers. Hang on, I got to breathe. Hey, man, I'm not wearing a mask so that the deaf community can read my lips while I'm doing a live stream, so I'm just letting you know that.
I can help you though.
Okay. Yes. It's good. It's really, really good. But again, this Young Justice run, you should know that the art is always good. These Wonder comics are just top shelf. The art is good. The story is good. I had a really good time with this. And as a fan of the Bat family, I will say that the way this plays out, it's a very Bat family feel. It was good. Next is Shazam. Now, say my name, issue number 14. And of course, this is centering around Superboy Prime. If you haven't heard from Superboy Prime in a while, I wouldn't be surprised. He's sort of been missing in action during the entire Rebirths run. He's been gone completely, and we found out he was sort of locked in a magical cage in part of the Magic Lands, which makes sense, magic being one of his weaknesses. But Shazam and family has got to confront him. And the way this wrapped up was great. Now, I do recall they said that Shazam was going to be ending, and I think it ends here. It's Johns, Collins, Eagleham, and Itia. I believe they said it was going to be ending here, and I'm actually quite happy with this ending. But something that happens in this is sort of, it feels a bit historical. A certain rivalry between Shazam and someone else gets resolved here, finally. And the way it gets resolved is really sort of touching. But keep in mind, it feels a bit rushed, and I'm concerned it's a bit rushed, because if I didn't know of this rivalry, like personally, then I might have been a little confused as to why it was so important that it got resolved this way and why it was kind of. But me knowing that, I don't know if you guys, or not you guys, but if everyone would know that. But the way it gets resolved is great. It's really, really great. But you kind of need to know Shazam's history to understand why it's important. That's all I'm going to say. The art's good. The story's good. And as an ending, I would not be disappointed with this. Although I will say it's not a good jumping off point because it's the last issue. So, like, go back a few issues and pick it up or grab the trade. But yeah, it's a good ending. Next is Sandman Universe, issue number 2. Of course, we're talking about the new dreaming waking hours. And this is G. Willow Wilson, Nick Robles, and Matt Lopes. This was awesome so far. The last issue was great. Basically, a mother and her infant were separated. The mother, who was doing a dissertation on Shakespeare, is sort of confronted with who Shakespeare might actually... Dale just said I was candy to his eyes. Okay, hi Al. But she was confronted with who Shakespeare might actually be, and confronted with different versions of Shakespeare. Which, if you know Shakespeare's history, there's a lot of theories as to who he might have been. Francis Bacon was one of them, and I'm trying to think of a few. Sir Francis Bacon, a few of others, but they're all here in this issue. Meanwhile, the infant was separated and was found by one of the nightmares of the dreaming. Probably the weakest one, called Ruin, which is a character I'm not super familiar with, but Daniel the Dreamer's been tapped on it too. So there's a lot of stuff moving around and in play on this issue, which is great. It feels like the OG Sandman universe sort of dreaming stuff. It's good. I have nothing to complain about here at all. I will say the current dreaming stuff on the shelf, it's good too. No complaints here, but this, for whatever reason, feels much better, and I'm not quite sure why. It's great. It feels like a return to form, and I'm having a good time with this, so come pick it up. Next is Justice League. One by one, they will fall. And this issue actually centers around being captured by a parasitic plant that is the size, or has engulfed a planet, and that parasitic plant is called Black Mercy. It is a plant that, while it sort of devours you to survive, it gives you visions of your best future, your most beautiful future, what you wanted to see. And this one in particular has Batman sort of seeing, he's seeing his parents alive and surviving the attack. And of course, that's what he wants. But he's seeing that, and he's being pried from this reality, and that's going to wind up being a bit traumatic. And so that's what this entire issue is. It was good, really good, for a lot of reasons, but probably the biggest is you get a peek inside of the glimpse of the psyche of Batman and his promises, of course. And on top of that, there is a very, very touching scene between Clark and Bruce at the end of this book where they're just discussing what they've seen. And it feels like a glimpse into trauma and PTSD, which is something I did not expect from this particular issue. I think I told you guys the last issue at first felt like filler because they've been cycling in a lot of writers to fill in while Scott Snyder is doing death metal. But this issue in particular was super touching. Had a great time with this issue and would recommend it to everyone. So again, last issue, the build up to this felt like filler. This one did not at all. Had a good time with it. So yeah, it'll be here. Come pick it up. It's like you were just here. It is like you were just here, Al, and it's great. Next issue. Oh wait, we should show this. Here's the Batman '98 variant. The Matina, the cardstock. It's amazing. You get Punchline with Joker's face sort of fading in. She's a very wicked counterpart. I really like her, but again, let's talk about Batman '98. You get a glimpse into Punchline, and wow, she really is Joker's counterpart in a lot of ways. Like, you really should pick this up if you're a fan of her new look or her new as a new character. The last book on our list for DC this week. We're gonna do a Marvel review tomorrow, but DC's last book this week is Deceased Dead Planet. And if you can't tell from the cover, it says D is for deceased. D for deceased. This is a V for Vendetta reference, which I don't think V for Vendetta is a horror movie, but I don't know if they couldn't have run out of horror movies to do. They just stopped doing horror movie variants, and now it's just movie variants. Maybe that was the plan all along, and I just wasn't clued in, but it is what it is. This is Deceased Dead Planet. This, of course, is centering around the fact that Cyborg has come back to life, and Cyborg has been clued in that there is a cure to the anti-life equation infection, the messed up anti-life equation infection that has infected the Earth with zombies. There's a cure. Meanwhile, the heroes last time were dealing with an infected Plastic Man, Plastic Man is ridiculously overpowered. And there are times where he's thrown out like his full power, and everyone's like been like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that from the guy who's just joking constantly." And an infected version of him is a complete nightmare scenario. So I'm glad they went there. Which, if you don't know Plastic Man as a character, you might just think he's just comedy relief. He's not. While he is funny, he's super powerful. So yeah, they've got to deal with that, and then on top of that, they've got to figure out where they can get this counter equation. And if you know the anti-life equation history, you know that there is a counter equation. So yeah, I can't wait to see how this turns out. I will say the place this is going involves a certain throne for a certain god. That's all I'm going to say. So if you know New Gods and you know God, the Apocalypse, you're going to know what I'm referring to. Hang on one second. Hey guys, I'm not wearing a mask, and that's because I'm doing a live stream so the deaf community can read my lips. So I'm just prefacing that. If that's an issue for you guys, you probably shouldn't come into the store right now. So just letting you know.
I work here. I take care. You gotta know me.
Okay. Anyways, so this issue one, this deceased run is great. I've loved the art. I've liked the art a lot better than I did the what was the Red Hood deceased one that we got?
No,
Not Dead Planet.
Unkillables.
Unkillables. I didn't like the art for Unkillables, which is weird as a Red Hood fan that I didn't like it. But I also haven't liked the art for the current Red Hood run. This one in particular had great art. The story was great. I've really liked to see the growth of Damian Wayne as a character, which has been which has been nice so far. One thing I will say about this issue in particular is you get Etrigan, which whenever you get a Jason Blood as a character in a story, I'm super intrigued. I don't know why, but I really love Etrigan and Jason Blood as a character. So whenever I see them pop up in like Justice League Dark or something else, I'm super hyped. I think it's just because they sort of go with John Constantine, and at the same time, the character drives John Constantine nuts. because he does complain about him rhyming all the time. And that happens in this issue in particular, which is a really, really funny standard for me. So, anyways, awesome issue, knocked it out of the park. I'm still fully on board with this DC Stead Planet, which, unlike the Unkillables, I've loved this and loved where it's going, and every issue has felt like growing. It doesn't feel like filler, so it's been great. So yeah, that's here. Come pick it up. The art, I will say, again, as an art snob, it's not as a problem for me as it was for Unkillables, but it's still not the best. That's all I'm gonna say. There are times where I flip a page and I'm like, oh, that seems kind of off, and I'm not sure why. So yeah, just letting you know on that. Other than that, nothing to complain about here. It's a really good issue. So that's our DC Comics show for the week. We've covered all the DC books. We have them in. They're already on sale because Tuesday is the OK sell date for DC Comics. We haven't done Marvel yet. Marvel comes out tomorrow, but we still haven't gotten our shipment yet. So if you're waiting on our Marvel shipment and you know that the Marvel and Indie shipment is bigger, maybe don't come by tomorrow expecting to pick it up. We're probably going to be processing it tomorrow, so expect it Thursday.
Or it might show up at 9 o'clock tomorrow night.
It might show up at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. We should be doing a Marvel live stream tomorrow where we cover the Marvel and Indie titles. But if we don't get them in time, it will be Thursday at the latest. We will most likely not have the Marvel comics tomorrow. They'll be here Thursday. And that's our DC show for this week. So take care. Doing the dance. I got to shut everything down. Bye, Twitch. Bye, YouTube. Goodbye.